Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show.
Hey everybody, welcome back for episode 95 of That Scale RC Show. This is Jeremy with Travis and Adam. How's it going, you guys?
Good.
It's going.
Yeah, it's going.
It's going.
Yeah. It's the end of the year. Everything's getting crazy. Actually, I didn't even tell you this before the show. So my work has been hectic because my boss broke his collarbone over the weekend.
Oh,
That's a miserable injury.
Yeah, racing dirt bikes.
Was he really?
Yeah, dead serious.
brutal.
Yep.
Yeah, he races dirt bike,
Kind of collarbones and that go hand in hand.
and it was the final race of the winter. I think it was winter or fall series, and went down.
Dude, that's the thing. It's like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, oh, God. All that abuse on your body.
Well, and honestly, dude, like I was actually kind of like, it was one of those things. It was like, I guess it was always kind of in the back of my mind, you know, like, because he's been racing for a little over a year now. And I was like, you know, it's one of those things we've always kind of been like, well, what if you hurt yourself, you know? And all of a sudden, Sunday night, sitting there watching Yellowstone, next thing you know, get a text. You might have to you're going to be flying solo tomorrow. I'm on my way to get x-rays. I'm like, x-rays for what? And he goes, I think I broke my collarbone. And I was like, damn. I was like, well, hopefully it's a speedy recovery. And he said, bones will heal. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then about 2 hours later, yeah, I'm going to get surgery. I was like, oh, then you really did a number.
I had one that was a spiral fracture that probably should have been plated, and I just got lucky that the like shard that was sticking down had a bunch of calcium that grew around it, and so it wasn't like poking into the tissue as bad anymore. But dude, that's a miserable injury. I mean, like, it's so uncomfortable just trying to sleep or anything and get dressed. And I remember the last time I had a broken collarbone, I was working at a bike shop, and I was doing like suspension work, and I was pulling a set of forks apart, you know, trying to pop the seal apart on them. And the bone had been like starting to mend, you know, it'd probably been about, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. And as I'm like trying to get these fork tubes apart, I could feel like it popped back apart again, open. Not fun. Collarbones are stupid.
Yep. So yeah, so basically I'm doing double duties. So for those who know, in my personal life, I do electrical, and I also project manage for the one contractor that my boss is a subcontractor for. So kind of like 2 for 1, but yeah. So now when any electrical stuff happens, instead of like having an extra set of hands or kind of somebody supplying the material or kind of knowing the game plan, I got to figure it all out. I'm not just the lackey anymore.
You're the man now.
I'm the man.
Yep. You're going to be telling him how it is pretty soon. Writing bids, making people angry, and then by the time he's back, you can just shovel your mess back onto him.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. There's just not much going on. What's that?
I don't know if I can talk about any of the stuff that's crazy for me at the moment, actually. I think SOR is nuts. Free Fly is nuts. It's all nuts.
It is nuts.
Yeah, a lot happening. I'm trying to think what of the SOR bit I can say, because I'm really not wanting to, like, I mean, like what we've done in the past is kind of the lead up for some of these things. Like Trailing Arms was a good example of this. When we'd done that, was that we had really kept the project under wraps for a long time, in part because, you know, it was in our minds a little bit of a race to get them out, because we thought that that was something that a lot of companies would be coming out with, was what we did. And so I was really apprehensive about, like, you know, any leaks or anything like that and stuff. And I'm kind of not feeling as much of a need for that at this point. So I'm like trying to like figure out then going forward, like some of the stuff that is going to be happening, and start getting little bits of information out at the time. Cause there's some cool stuff kind of coming up really soon that, yeah, I'm really excited to get out to everybody and get people excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I haven't even told Adam about any of it.
Yeah.
Man, keeping me in the dark.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
A little bit.
Yeah. I guess if we ever bring it up on the show, because these are also released on Fridays, then it'll also be released in the whole This Week at SOR thing. So it'll just be a matter of picking a week for some of the early news.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Big stuff in the works.
Nice. Yep.
Oh, that's just been busy.
RC related, I actually got my body today from Todd Norton. The one that's going to be my replica for the 94.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right.
So I'm stoked because now I finally have it in my possession. I can finally start figuring out how I'm going to attach it to the chassis, and then I can start playing around with the wheelbase. Well, not the wheelbase. It's got the fixed wheelbase. But I got to figure out where to mount the leafs, because it's going to be a leaf sprung rig.
I want a leaf rig so bad. I want to turn the Scout into a leaf rig. That'd be like a really good, appropriate one for that.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I want to do that pretty bad.
Well, I've always wanted to do a leaf rig, and I've always wanted to do a replica rig. And since mine checks off both, boxes.
So this will be your first leaf spring one too?
Correct.
Wow.
I've never had a leaf sprung rig, and it's going to be interesting because it's like, it's definitely getting built from scratch. So, yeah. So we're going to see how it goes.
I was just trying to explain to a guy about that, about like leaf spring rigs and stuff. And I used that as an example when I was talking to him, because he was talking about getting a night runner, and he was like, I don't know if I'm going to like the IFS and stuff. And I was like, well, think of it like a leaf rig, like, and kind of like adjust your expectations. Like, it's going to be different. So, it's not going to be as good necessarily or better or anything like that. It's going to be a different experience altogether. And so I kind of used, leaf spring rig as an example, because he wasn't really familiar with IFS or anything like that. So.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I know leafs are going to be different. But there's a guy on Instagram that goes by the name of Twisted Fab, I think.
Yeah.
Twisted Fab Co. Yeah, he's got it nothing but leaf rigs, and he makes every single one of them perform really well. So it's like, I'm thinking about picking his brain a little bit and being like, what are some of the tips and tricks to get, these rigs to work? Because I said, because honestly, I don't want this to just be a total, replica build, I want to be able to actually go and use it. I want to be able to like take it out and, you know, go to the trails, do all that stuff. Like, I don't want to build it and be like, oh, this can only go out on this certain terrain because, you know, it's too fragile. Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that well. I mean, I actually want to use it. So, yeah, it's going to take a little, you know, getting used to. And then also the other thing is, and it's just a personal preference. I know there's multiple ways I could probably do this and it'd be a lot easier and a lot faster, but it's just how I want to do it. There's a couple like other criterias that I'm trying to meet. And obviously being somebody who goes to Axial Fest a lot, I'm trying to make this still Axial Fest legal. So some of my challenges are like getting, you know, axles that are going to work. So I think because I've basically been talking to my buddy Nick Lapp, I think I'm going to try to butcher a set of Axial SCX10 straight axles to make into leaf spring axles. So we'll see how that goes.
The 1-piece ones or the 3-piece?
I think they're 1 piece. It's the straight axle conversion. So like if you had a 10.3 and you wanted
to for the 10.3. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was thinking 10.2.
No, well, originally, I mean, I have some of those, but here's the other thing is I really want to keep the offset pumpkin because, you know, that just adds to the scale realism since, you know, my Dana 60 is a driver side drop. I'm trying to bring that into it. So it's like, you know, I outweighed it because like I was thinking about going with the SSD Pro 44s. Mm-hmm. But I just was like, I don't know. It's like the Pro 44 is a good looking axle, but for some reason, the 10.3 axle, the housing or the pumpkin just looks beefier. So it's like I might be able to almost pass that off as a Dana 60 style front end versus the actual one that looks like a Dana 44.
Does SSD have anything for the 3 yet?
Other than like I think like basic stuff like, you know, like you know, wheels.
Gotcha.
Maybe,
okay.
You know, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they have knuckles. I don't even know if they have anything based on the 3. Everything was for the 2. So, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, those will be my fallback axles only because I've seen them done because my buddy Nick, he actually is doing that right now. He's doing a custom build, and it was funny because we were kind of like just, you know, texting a little earlier today. We were bouncing ideas back and forth, and he was like, yeah, for my build that he's doing right now, he's like, I built my own chassis myself out of steel. Like, you know, I drew out what I wanted, and then I took, you know, metal, you know, I think he's using solid square stock, and he actually is like heating it up and bending it into the shape that he wants to make his chassis, and then he's welding it all together and all that stuff, which is totally rad. But I said, you've like my criteria, trying to make it Axial Fest legal, then it's a custom chassis.
Right.
So I'm trying to stick with, it's going to be an axial chassis if I have to extend it, because I'm most likely going to have to extend it. I haven't measured this, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe Todd said it was roughly, I want to say around 13-inch wheelbase, maybe a little bit longer, because
that's going to look so good.
Because that's the thing. It's actually proportional to everything. Like you look at this,
right? Yeah.
It like I had it on the bench next to the Jeep. It's actually pretty proportional because it's actually longer than the Jeep. Nice. So it's like, yeah. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked. So, yeah. So now really the next the next step is literally like. And I think that's what people don't realize with Leafs. So it's like, I can't just mount that, or I can't just build a chassis and be like, oh, it's going to be this wheelbase. It's going to be this, it's going to be that, put it all together and then fine tune it. Like when you put the Leafs where they're going to go, that's where they're going to go. There's no swinging it forward unless you move the mounts that it's mounted to. It's not like links where you can lengthen them and shorten them and it's going to change your wheelbase. It's
Right.
like once you mount the leafs, that's where they sit. So it's like I kind of got to do all of that. And then the drivetrain, I still haven't 100% figured out which way I want to go yet. So I haven't decided if I mean, because he did give me parts to do a full interior, or at least a 3/4-ish interior. So I just don't know how far I want to take it. Like, do I put, because part of me thought about, I know it's one of the most hated transmissions, but I think it does still sit pretty low for what it is. The 10-2 kit transmission still has a good crawl ratio, and you can get it to sit low. So I was thinking about that, and then I can still kind of build the interior around that.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be good.
But I don't know.
You could do the SSD transmission and motor. That'd be kind of cool.
I thought about that too, because actually I do have one of those, because that was the motor and transmission I was going to put in my replica from my dad's dump truck, which kind of got put on the back burner. But I did pick that up for that rig. So I do have one. So like if I need to make one work, I probably could. So I just got to kind of play around with it.
I would like to build something with one of those transmissions one of these days.
Yeah, I mean it's really nice. So the only issue I was having is I don't believe you need their cross member or skid plate. I thought it was based off of the axial. It doesn't quite line up. Like the holes are just off just a smidge. So I don't know if I was wrong or what. So it's like I can't get the best of both. Like I can't get both worlds. If I mount it to the skid plate, then the cross member doesn't quite line up on the frame. And if I get it lined up and perfect on the frame, it doesn't quite line up on the skid plate. So it's like I don't know what's wrong. Like I don't know if something's tweaked or if you do need a skid plate for it, like the actual SSD skid plate.
Here's something that's relatively new that might be kind of cool too, that might kind of incentivize this for you is SSD came out with an aluminum overdrive transfer case that works with their transmission.
So wait, an overdrive transfer case. Here, I'm about to look that up. Overdrive transfer case that works with SSD transmission?
Yeah. It's for the Trail King, for that transmission we were talking about. Because that would make it even more beastly. What are you going to do for trying to combat spring wrap? Like I just very briefly messed around with leafs on that Ram Charger, and it was like I know what I need to make it work. I just don't have any way of being able to really do it myself. It's going to have to be like something printed to even be able to like test out, and see how it's going to work. But the leafs have 3 holes in them, and I've seen people use like just the 2 outside holes before, and like certain axle, like the link mount blocks or whatever you want to call them that bolt on.
Mm-hmm.
Those, some of them have like 3 holes or 2 spaced really far apart, and so you just use those, and that kind of with that wider clamping pattern on those mounts, it makes it to where, it doesn't have as much, spring wrap, but it's still a problem.
So I think what I'm going to do, even though I don't have it, that is going to be one part that I'm probably going to have to make for the scale truck that I don't have on my 1-to-1, is I think I'm just going to build a replica 1-to-1 style anti-wrap. So basically, like WFO, one of the off-road shops that I deal with a lot. Mm-hmm. I know quite a bit of the guys that work there, and I know the owner pretty well. He has a bracket, and it's similar, or a bar a track bar, I guess is what they call it. I think is what they call it. And it basically is similar to a, what's the word? Trailing arm kind of setup. So like you mount this 2-spot, bracket on your axle, and then there's a bar that kind of like goes into a Y, and then that single part of the bar attaches to a shackle. So basically, because you're fixing the axle at 2 points down at the axle, it can't rotate on itself, but because it's got a shackle, it allows movement for when the axle needs to go up and down. Because the problem, what a lot of people don't realize in the one-to-one world, is they'll put a set of track bars on their truck and they go, oh, I'm going to get a ton of, whatchamacallits. I'm going to get a ton of like traction. I'm going to keep my axle plan. It's not going to wrap. But the problem is your ride becomes super stiff because you got the bars don't allow the axle to go up and down. It just keeps it there. So like it keeps it from rocking or wrapping. But now because it's a fixed bar, it doesn't really allow the suspension to move, and you get a really rough ride. Like you feel it in the kidneys and everything. So pretty brutal.
That kind of makes sense. Cause like the arc motion of the, with like having a trailing arm, let's say, how there's kind of like a radius that you could see the rear wheels making as it goes through its travel. Like You've got something that's creating that kind of motion. And then you've got leaf springs where it's like moving like straight up and down and slightly backwards, so it's like you've got these two motions kind of fighting each other. Like, God, nobody's come up with something better than that.
Yeah, there are no, what I'm saying is there are a couple brands, like, so okay, I'm sorry, I'm just on WFO's website real quick. They call it a torque arm kit.
Interesting.
Here, I'm going to send it in our chat right now, so that way you guys can see it, see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay, I sent it on Messenger. So if you go to that, you'll see. So basically, this is what they use to combat, the axle wrap, but it still allows the suspension to work because, obviously with off-road rigs, you want your suspension to articulate and do everything it needs to do.
Your just scale version of that would be so sick.
Yeah, it would.
And I'm going to try and come up with one.
Need to. That thing's rad.
Yeah.
And then also, because you had me go into the SSD website, they do have 10.3 specific parts. It's not a lot, but they do. They have a brass diff cover,
which looks really, really good.
They have, that bumper says for the 10.2, 10.2, 10.2. A lot of stuff is for the 10.2, but it works. They got a locker, which I believe still works because it's a lot of the same parts. They do have a brass portal cover. Except for those, one says for the Capra, one says for Capra /10.3. So I don't know. They look the same to me, but maybe I'm wrong. They do have steel portal gears for the 10.3, and they also have overdrive portal gears for the 10.3 / Capra. They also got knuckles for the Capra and 10.3, and then they got scale drive shafts. So
I really like their drive. I like almost everything SSD makes, but I do really like their drive shafts.
Yeah. They look really good. So let's see here. Products.
Now you're got me wanting to do a leaf spring rig really bad. I've wanted to for a really long time though, but I mean now I'm like, God, that'd be cool.
See, what I'm trying to find is the transmission. There it is. Trail King transmission and mount.
I could see having a workbench type jig for building being really convenient for something like this, especially when you're trying to figure out where to hang like the spring perch and then the shackle.
See, I must be doing something wrong, because if you look at SSD's thing, I swear to God, that's the same layout bolt pattern as the axial, and it even says in their note, the only note that it says, for STX 10.2 fitting this transmission requires an offset front axle. That's all it says.
Huh.
So I don't know.
Interesting.
So yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it still. That's on my, now that it's like, it's one of those things, like, I didn't want to like really start getting a ton of parts without the truck being here, just like to make sure that, like,
Right.
I had whatever. So now that it's here, I think I'm just gonna, start gathering some parts and make it happen.
That'll be fun.
So it's not gonna be a super fast build, but it's gonna be fun. And then the other thing is, I think I'm gonna keep it, I guess, for lack of better words, reliable. So I think I'm gonna stay brushed. I don't think I'm gonna go brushless on this.
Just make it just kind of a workhorse rig.
Pretty much, because, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my brushless setups, but they require so much more tuning, so much more like the fine comb, like the fine tooth comb that you have to go through with brushless versus the brushed. I think on a rig like this, I think brushed would just be way easier.
I like that Tekin has like their equivalent to punch control now, because I used that with the pre-runner build, because I didn't want it to be, like super violent on asphalt and break gears or anything like that. And man, it has like such a nice soft bottom end, and like it doesn't just, want to tear off or anything, but it's still like really fast and really powerful and everything. But it's just nice that you can kind of tune it to where like chances are you're not going to destroy any gears. So that'll be kind of cool. I mean, not that I've ever had any issues with element gears anyway. Some people do, but I don't know. I'll never understand why some people go through them so bad and others don't.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. There's always people that, like, it's like one person's like, oh my God, this is such a pile of crap. It just, and then you got other people that run it forever and you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like I don't even have like the nice machined ones in anything except for my moon buggy. I think that's the only one that has the machined gears. And even like all the cast ones, that come in the RTRs and stuff, like I have yet to ruin any of them. And I mean, like our EPX like test mule truck, I mean, that thing has a lot of freaking time on it and it's still alive and kicking. I mean, I haven't even replaced any bearings in it. And then you'll talk to other guys that like go through stuff all the time, and it's just, I don't know. I kind of feel like they maybe shot themselves in the foot a little bit by not having a slipper clutch on that rig with how small the pinion is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ring and pinion are really little compared to the AR-44 ones. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't think that, I think people are probably just mashing on them, getting them bound up and just trying to power through it and stuff. And that's the only conclusion I can come to, just because, of not having any issues with it myself. But I think a slipper clutch probably would have made life a lot easier on everybody.
Yeah. We'll see. And I think what a lot of people forget is a slipper clutch. It can be, it can be a friend. It's your life. It's your lifeline, your lifesaver when it comes to your rig when it gets bound up. Like, especially like I let a buddy run one of my rigs and I actually had a slipper eliminator in that rig, and he got the tire wedged into something, and he kept trying to go. I'm like, dude, stop. You're going to blow my rig into pieces. I was like, it does not have a slipper. Like, you see that tire wadded up like that? Go pick it up.
Yeah, it's just, I think people forget that they're adjustable too. You know, like you get to that point where it's getting kind of bound up and you hear the slipper squeal. It's like, okay, you know, no big deal. Reset it or whatever, you know. I mean, it's like, especially if it's not like a comp situation, which, you know, 95% of the people that are in the Facebook groups and stuff aren't doing comps. But
exactly.
it's just, I don't know. Slippers, especially for new to RC people, and for whatever reason, Element attracted like a lot of new people to the hobby. And I think it was just kind of like this weird perfect storm where, you know, stuff was getting broken and probably more experienced people probably wouldn't be having those same issues.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
also okay. Same guy I was just talking about when he was using my rig. So I built him his Land Cruiser, or the replica ish of his Land Cruiser, and I recently gave it to him, you know, and it was all complete. I tested it out, you know, kind of flexed it out, did all this stuff, made sure it was all good. He took it out for one run, and he was already like I mean, the thing, like, he was already breaking parts off of it, and I'm sitting here going, dude, I was like, I've built rigs and kind of driven them, you know, mildly hard, or at least what I think is mildly hard, and they all hold up just fine. How do you drive that thing? Because, I mean, shit's breaking left and right. And I'm like, dude, and it kind of makes me question, like, did I not build it right? And I'm like, no, I said, dude, it's built the same way I build my rigs, and all my rigs hold up.
I just, I don't know. I have a hard time imagining myself being in a scenario where it's so bound up where I don't just pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, why put yourself through that? You know, just pick the thing up, reset it, whatever, you know. Chances are you're not at a comp or anything anyways. Save your equipment.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense. I tell you what, though, just from like watching what people are buying in that group and stuff, like, there is a lot of Element owners buying Hobby Wing stuff. I don't know if it's that way in the Axial pages too, but my God.
Yeah. Hobby Wing's becoming like the new thing. I constantly get that battle from Elio all the time. Like, he's like, dude, why don't you just run the all-in-one, whatever the hell it's called, the Axial, the Hobby
Fusion
Wing
or whatever.
Fusion. And I'm like going, because I don't want to. And secondly, I am sponsored by Holmes Hobbies, so it's like I'm, you know, kind of supposed to do my obligations here, you know.
It's just a suggestion.
So, I mean, that's like some of these guys, like, you know, it's like, it's like you guys Tekin guys, somebody's sitting here giving you a hard time about running the Fusion. What are you going to say?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, you know, I have no need to, you know, so I'm happy with the motors and the ESCs that I run. They all work. So, I mean, there's no need to change it. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. And it's like, realistically, if you break down the price point, it's really, I mean, you're saving some money, but you're not, to me, not really justifiable in my eyes. And maybe I'm just being a snob, but it's like, I think now you got me looking. I got to look it up. Let's see. So the Fusion, let's just say, okay, the Fusion quick run, 1800 kV. That's 1800. That's 1200. Where's the other ones? They don't have any other ones? Is that all they got? Are those two? Or am I like, or is that just what A-Main has?
I'd imagine they would carry all of it, but I don't know. Interesting.
But the only two I find. So okay, the bottom line, the 1800 kV, it's $156. You can get in both Holmes Hobbies and Tekin for $150. You can get a motor and speed controller, not brushless, but you can get a motor and speed control.
Yeah.
And also, like, what if something happens to it? Like, the ESC part of it dies, something great. You have to replace the whole thing now.
Exactly. Whereas, like, the one, it's, and that's the one argument I hear all the time. And I'm sure there's going to be people that don't agree with us, but that is the one argument that I hear all the time is, what if this goes out? It's like, yeah, well, and the other thing too is, unless it's a certain style rig, you're really not saving a lot of space. Because, like, for instance, Todd picked up one of those for the Capra, and because I told him, I was like, he's like, what are you running? And I said, I'm running the Holmes Hobby, the 2100 kV Puller Pro with the Mamba X. And I said the Mamba X was kind of big, so I actually zip tied it to the back part of, like, the cage thing underneath the drivers, because that's really the only place it would fit, because it's just so big. And he was like, yeah, see, I'm worried about space, so I'm going to try and save space. So he got this. Well, the problem was he couldn't fit it in a certain, like, I forget what he had to do to it to get it to work. There was something that was hitting, so I think he spaced up the transmission. I could be wrong. And I'm like, see, you didn't even really save any space saving, part of it, because it still didn't fit, because it's now longer, because basically the speed control portion of it is on the back side of the can.
Right.
It's not like they're doing this on a stubby.
I don't know. I can't really buy into it. I have this weird, like, deja vu feeling, because I just had this conversation with Ty the other day, because I was talking about how it's just uncanny how many people are talking about the fusion thing. And, I think we've brought it up in other episodes, but, like, Orion for a while, which isn't, most crawler guys probably have no idea who Team Orion is, but they were a fairly prominent brand as far as, off-road racing and, like, stuff like that. And they had, I think it was kind of marketed more towards, like, some of their RTRs and stuff that Kyosho had, but Orion had the same type of thing, as what Hobbywing has. And it had a really short life cycle. Like, it wasn't around for much more than a year or two, I think, and then it went away and they quit making it.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I've seen that's been kind of weird is, and this is not me bashing, it's just, like, very weird that, it all is around Hobbywing. So Hobbywing has I think it's the Axe system. They have the Axe system, and my buddy's kid got that. I forget which one he got. Was I think 33 or the 28? I forget which one he got, but he got one of them for his 10.3, and he was having major interference with the servo and the sensor wire, and it was making the rig do all kinds of weird stuff. And he had, and basically the answer Hobbywing gave was, like, first they were like, oh, you need to try and put tape, like, 2 pennies to the side of your servo, so you're not, so it like something with it shielding the
what.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this. So this is coming from a company telling you to tape pennies on this. Like, it kind of blew my mind. Then they were like, oh no, it's the then the other answer was, oh no, it's the sensor wire. You need to shield the sensor wire so that way it's not, I don't, like I said, it's just, I'm not trying to knock on them. It's just kind of like weird hearing some of this stuff. You're just like,
Yeah,
dude,
no, I'm with you.
it should just work. Like you're paying, like for instance, I'm looking at the Hobby Wing right now on A-Main, $250 for the Axe system, the 3300 kV.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, not trying to bash on anyone, but it is, kind of crazy.
Charlie's gonna show up at your house now.
Probably. I'm cool with Charlie.
What the hell, bro?
They're a big, big company. That is for sure.
Charlie's
Like I said, I'm not trying to beat up on him or be whatever. But
he's probably
going
to be pretty hurt by how you've just gone and backstabbed him super bad.
Oh, yeah, I didn't backstab him.
You backstabbed him. Now he's upset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Travis, what have you been doing?
What do you mean, what have I been doing?
What have you been
listening to us rant?
Yeah, recording the
I
show.
just want to know what's been going on in Travis's RC world.
We covered that. I can't talk about any of it.
Which I wanted to ask you about, and I forgot to do that today because I didn't want to bother you.
Oh, okay.
He could tell you, but then he'd have to kill you.
Dude, this week has been the longest 3 days.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why does this week seem like normally my weeks go by like that? Like you're just like all of a sudden it's Friday.
Yeah, it's
I'm
been a
like,
great week for me.
I kind of woke up today and I was like, it's only Wednesday?
Dude, it just feels like it's been so slow. And like Matt at A-Main, we were texting earlier and he goes, dude, doesn't today feel like it should be Friday? It's like, yeah, honestly. I mean, like 3 days in and like I'm dragging my ass already. Like it's been bad. Not for Travis though.
No, not me. Been very there's a lot I don't know, it's been Monday for me 3 days this week is
Outstanding.
is where I've been so far. RC land is fine. It's just, working through stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that. Just getting stuff facilitated. That's the word I'll use.
Facilitated.
Yeah.
Facilitating.
Yep. That's what I'm doing.
Shows you how like the level, like when someone uses like the bigger words like that, just goes to show you they're the right man for the job.
Procurement. He's facilitating procurement.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. There's a lot.
I can't believe I haven't told Adam about any of this stuff going on.
No, the only thing I see, I just got to keep up on like the Instagram and the Facebook post to know what the hell's going on.
We got like secret stuff happening.
I mean, I could just spill the first bit of the news now.
Go for it. No, I don't even care.
We're discontinuing EPX Pro.
Yep.
There you go.
Already?
Yeah.
Yep. Already.
How come?
It was a huge failure, and everybody said to me, we don't know what you think you're going to do with your business.
We sold none.
I heard that so much.
We didn't move a single one of them.
So we're discontinuing it.
Everyone said we would fail. So
are you're joking, right?
I the things I said were serious. People really did say that to me.
Did they? I don't even remember that.
Yep.
Oh well.
It was the meaty one. I don't know what you think you're gonna do with your business or what your plans are, but
oh right. Funny. Yeah, no, no, it actually did very well. It was the planned lifespan was a lot longer. So I guess I'll post that in the week at SOR this week. So basically, we felt that honestly, like the demand for it's still good. We moved a lot of them like on Black Friday and stuff like that. Like we did it. We had a really good like full year for it. And one of the big efforts that I had put into SOR in the last year was, sourcing it all, because that was something that was new for us, was that, it's just a different type of product, different type of game. And so trying to, one, keep them in stock, two, plan ahead on these things. And we had a really good year, once we took care of a couple things. We shifted fulfillment like to me, and then I started doing all that planning on my own and stuff. And so what ended up being the catalyst for this, though, was that Builder's Kit 2 came out. And so the Builder's Kit 2 for Element, for anybody who's unaware, well, the tower design is different, and this kind of came from the whole Gatekeeper thing. So, because when the Gatekeeper dropped, they kind of came out that GKS suspension setup, and then the Ecto, same similar thing with the trailing arms, but then with the Builder Kit 2, it's that upright tower with the inserts is what comes standard as part of that kit, right? So because of that, and the way that the shot key on the EPX was designed, they're not compatible. And so that was something that I was thinking about, was like, all right, well, what will we do about that issue? And I was trying to think about, okay, do I want to make like an adapter for keys and everything? But it just wasn't working, and it was all kind of coming out a little bit ghetto, and I didn't really want to do anything ghetto. So the best path forward for what we want to do with all of it was just to kill EPX Pro and move forward with basically the next like iteration of what we had kind of started with that. And so that's kind of the first phase to this is EPX Pro's done. So yeah, that basically, if you can buy them. After that, like once they go out of stock, they won't be restocked. And that's that. There you go.
So are you guys going to be like Apple, and now you got rid of the Pro, so now you're going to come out with the Pro X?
No, I don't think so. If we're going to release anything new, I will say this, if anything new as a follow-up to this, it will be not just marginally better, if that makes sense. Like, that's something that I really want to try and avoid, because like if it weren't for we could have band-aided that issue. That's something we absolutely could have done, but we saw an opportunity within it that we wanted to kind of jump on, right? And so it wasn't necessarily like, we definitely chose the hard path. The path of least resistance would have just been making an adapter or something, or the current
or
fix
just
was
telling people to buy those.
Get the old arms,
towers,
old towers. Yeah, exactly. But we kind of saw just an opportunity within it, right? And so we wanted to move forward on that. And so if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right, and we're going to do it the way that we want to do it. And EPX Pro, despite those circumstances, it could have gone on a lot longer, but then, once we kind of put everything on the roadmap, it didn't really make sense to carry it on in light of what we're working on. So yeah, that's essentially what's up. It's a big and sudden move, but in reality, this is something that I've known and planned on for the last several months.
And whatever it is we're doing, it's going to have the word Grande in it.
Oh yeah.
EPX Grande.
All right. Well, there we go. That's the first I've heard that.
V2, 2.0, all that stuff's so played out. This is going to be Grande.
Are you going to also come out with the tall and Avente?
No, I was thinking more like Taco Bell. I wasn't thinking coffee.
I thought you were thinking of like Starbucks.
I guess it makes sense because people criticize Taco Bell for removing stuff from their menu that people want. So
that too.
There's that. And that definitely was not an easy choice. It's hard to pull something that's selling,
Dude, don't even get me going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing we could talk. It's not even RC related. I could talk about for hours.
Yeah, right. But
So, okay. Well, that's a shame. So everybody out there, go snag them up.
Yeah.
And then write letters to
Yep.
Jay at SOR Graphics. You need to re-release the EPX kit, or I will find you
Oh,
and I
wow.
will beat you up.
My God.
There you go.
My God.
Yeah, so it's kind of for the phase one for what is a pretty ambitious 2022 roadmap.
So what are you guys
really
coming out with your own raid?
God, I wish.
2022, it's going to be called the Road to Grande.
Yeah, Road to Grande.
We're going to chronicle the whole thing. It's going to be the Road to Grande.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right now here I'll rename the project real quick because it's just Project Grande.
Project Grande.
That's
my
hilarious.
But does it have anything to do with Grande, or is it just a word that
No.
that Jay wants to run with?
No, I have no idea where that came from.
He's coming out with his own 6-scale version.
It's bigger and better. It's Grande.
Yeah, the EPX 6-scale.
We had been calling it V2, but that was kind of just as a preface to getting the project started. All of that is very undefined at this point, hence Project Grande.
Grande.
I like that a lot better though.
Me too.
That's hilarious.
Oh God. We're so stupid.
It's really unfortunate. I wish we could sell it like that. But that's fine. We can talk about it.
People would not understand our humor.
Yeah, it's all right. We can. Project Grande will be a thing that comes up a lot over the next couple months, so it'll be fun.
You're gonna see the hashtag Project Grande.
I don't know where that came from, but
I don't know. It fits though.
Glad it makes you happy.
Yep, it does. Absolutely.
But yeah.
Oh man.
That is the deal.
Yep.
That is the deal. The nice part is though, and I haven't actually done this yet because I haven't ordered hardware, but the nice part about all this though is that I will finally be able to sell the chassis link risers independently. I'll have a limited run of those that'll be able to go that people have been asking for a while. So that part that was a kit exclusive that'll be its own item until we run out of those, and then that's done.
Yep.
Man, clearing shop.
We're just changing some stuff. That's all.
Yeah. Changing some stuff and doing some cleanup along the way. Like it's just we could, like I said, we could have ran it all in parallel. We could have done all those things, but it just came down to like doing all of this the way we really want to do it, and the way that
Just the Grande way.
Just the Grande way. And the only way that I really wanted to do it was to kind of go through and take care of a couple. Like that wasn't the only issue, right? Like not that there were issues, but it's one of those things where I saw areas of improvement that we could make a couple things better. And so
we could go full Grande.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
I've already thought of like so many memes, bumper stickers, t-shirts you could come up with, and I'm sure people would buy them. You need to get the picture of what's his name? God, now I'm pissed.
Tom Selleck.
No, it's the one actor. Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
You got to get him when he's in Tropic Thunder and say Grande. You never go full Grande.
Never go full Grande. We're going full Grande though. It's already started. Once Grande is in motion, there's no stopping it. No. Why does Traxxas still put black stickers on windows instead of just making them clear? Why do they do that to people?
I don't know.
Because Traxxas can do whatever they want.
Well, I'm looking at their new Fortec 3.0, the Toyota Supra. Fantastic looking car. Like, the body is really, really nice. Like, you know, they're kind of getting like the scale thing figured out, it seems like, you know, especially with the Bronco and everything else. But then they'll do something like this and do black stickers.
No idea.
Yeah.
Why they do hobbyists dirty that way?
Because they're not real hobbyists. They're still toy grade.
They're executives that have focus groups, and that's how they base all their decisions.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I want to look into
You know what?
the UMG
I wanna know when
6x6 saga.
I want to see when you're coming out with the USNC edition.
Oh, the Halo truck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think anybody would want to buy that. They'd have to be super lame like me.
He's also not allowed to sell it.
Yeah, that's true.
Lame.
There's so much Halo stuff on like all these little Etsy stores and stuff, though. People are probably pretty safe. I think they understand their fan base pretty well.
On a
What?
side note,
Maybe.
it just popped up on my thing. Apparently, King of the Streets 2022 is all you can start booking rooms at some hotel.
Oh,
I
nice.
think it'll be bigger this year.
I don't know. Tyler Zavadil just posted something about 4 hours ago. It says,
Huh.
I imagine it would be. Perhaps. I don't know. I've got to tell you, I'm kind of just completely out of touch at this point.
Yeah, I haven't
I've-
paid attention to any of that stuff in a long time.
Yeah.
The whole drag thing, just, I lost interest in it pretty quick.
yeah, I got to sell. I think I'll just make the announcement now. I got to sell my my drag truck, or yeah, it's a truck body. So my drag truck, my drag car. And I think I'm going to sell my Traxxas 4-wheel drive Slash. Those are the two cars that just sit. I don't even touch them, barely look at them. I mean, they just sit. So I think I'm finally just going to pull the trigger and put them up for sale.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
The 4-wheel drive Slash will be a RTR. The drag truck will be an almost RTR. It'll have everything minus the receiver and remote. Since I used the same remote for both of those trucks, but that remote came with my 4-wheel drive Slash. So, but yeah, so I think I'm going to put those up for sale. I was actually, I don't know. I talk about it, but then I look at it and I don't know if I can do it. I've been contemplating selling some of my other rigs just because I don't use them, but it's like, I don't know. Don't know if I'd be kicking myself in the butt later. So we'll see.
You probably aren't going to miss a drag car any.
No, the drag car and the 4-wheel drive Slash, no. Some of my other crawlers, like I got my red flatbed that I haven't touched in like 3 or 4 years. And it's like, do I just hold on to it or do I sell it?
Why? Well, why haven't you touched it in that amount of time?
Just because, something else comes out and you enjoy driving something else. That's just typically the evolution. Like, I mean, like for instance, not that I don't like it. I have the tow truck. I haven't really driven that in a while. It's just one of those things. I haven't been like, oh, I want to go drive this. It's like, the 10.3 came out and I've been driving that, and it's just super scale, so it fits what I want to do at, when I'm driving it, yada, yada, yada. pretty much stuff like that. I haven't touched the black and gold Jeep for almost 2 years.
Jeez.
I think.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, dude.
I know. I still got to rewrap that thing one of these days.
Wonder. So A Main doesn't carry the UMG 10 or the UMG 6x6. Like they don't even have them shown on backward or anything. And so I went to Axial's site, and they actually still have them. At least they do the 6x6. No, and the regular one too. Interesting. They're not showing them out of stock or anything. Wonder what's going on with those.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I just did the same thing. I just searched and I don't see them.
God, that's weird. Let me try UMG 10 and see if anything comes up at all. Kind of cool to get their interior for the 6x6 while it's still available. I always thought that was a cool truck.
What?
The UMG. I've always thought those were neat.
Yeah.
Dude, something's funky here. I can't find anything on that. Like, they don't have any parts now.
What's interesting, stuff that pops up when you search some of this stuff. It's very interesting that I typed in Axial SCX to see if it would be like they just didn't categorize it as a UMG, but I didn't see it. Yeah, Racing just came out with some SCX 10.3 steel rock sliders. They actually look pretty good. They're only $23.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Was there for the 3 or the 2?
The 3, but I'm assuming they'd work on the 2 also because they got the same mounting.
Do they? Huh.
Yeah, it's these show that goes mounts underneath to the bottom of that tray part.
That was Racing, you said?
Uh-huh. Which reminds me, and then we'll probably jump into questions. I got to look to see what questions we have. I still got to figure out how I'm going to mount the 94 body, that Chevy I just got, to the chassis. That's the only thing I got to figure out.
God, that's pretty cheap. They have a SDX 10.2 aluminum upgrade kit, axle housings, drive shafts, links, a skid. Huh. That'd be kind of something cool to get if you're like your first rig was like a honcho or something and you want to like fix it up a little bit. That'd be a cool thing.
Yeah. All right.
Steel rock sliders with receiver box. Is that the one you were talking about?
No, I gotta go look at it again. It was it was the Racing SCX 3 10.3.
Okay, I see them. Yeah, they look just like
$22.99.
Dude, those do look really nice.
Yep.
Great price too. Wow. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
So,
do you want to get into questions?
Yeah, we don't have many. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
The first one from Alex Sims is, have you guys tried FPV rock crawling? Might require head tracking.
Yeah, probably. I can't imagine trying to do it fixed. No, I haven't, because I'd probably get motion sickness.
It'd be cool, but yeah, it'd be kind of annoying to get dialed in to make it fun, I think, but it would be cool.
It'd be a fun like challenge at an event or something, like have like a RTR and have a little FPV setup and, get through a course or whatever is the challenge, by doing it with the FPV setup. That'd be kind of like a fun, like Axial Fest activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Paul Schulman says, what do you do to keep your bench clean and tidy? That is, if it is clean and tidy.
Shop vac.
So half the time, like, I really have to sit there and spend the time, like, making sure, like, you clean it up. Because sometimes, like, what I'll do is I'll be working on something and I'll set it off to the side and I'll keep working on whatever it is. And then instead of putting it away or categorizing it, it like sits there. And then like next thing you know, you're working on something else and you put it off to the side. Like I used to do that with takeoff wheels and tires. I'd literally stack them and they'd sit there. And then I have to keep moving them when I'm doing something. And I go, why don't I just put these away or get rid of them?
Yeah.
Mine is usually pretty clean. It just depends on whatever I've got going on at the moment. I don't do a ton of wrenching generally at any given time is the thing. So most of it is for like packaging or certain things or disassembling and doing some reverse engineering, stuff like that, or testing something. I've got a bunch of stuff I need to work through for like my actual cars that, just some maintenance and things that I need to do, but I haven't gone there yet because I've got trailing arms on the bench I need to package.
And plus, really, you don't do a whole lot of stuff that's like filthy dirty anyway, so your stuff stays pretty nice and clean.
Yeah, for the most part.
Posted a really good picture of your Bronco the other day. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. That thing always photographs so well.
Yeah.
Chris Trudeau asks, hey Travis for Ronafok Land. Thanks for having me on last week. Always a great time. Well, thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've absolutely no insight. Everything that I have tried to put together so far and have talked through hasn't made sense in my mind. So yeah, I couldn't tell you. Can't even begin to speculate. I think he'll probably. My early guess, I was saying this before the show, is maybe they're doing something new on their own altogether, because I can't think of a company that would take him, because it's like him and Bertine. That's a package deal, and it's kind of like the Testmans that kind of eliminates a lot of things on its own. Then Nick LaRussa said, have a great show, guys. That's it. Thanks, Nick.
Hey, thanks.
We did.
I am going to check, which I highly doubt. I will check Instagram real quick. No, we just got 11 likes, not one question.
Gotcha.
That was a super, super late post because we actually weren't even sure if we were going to be able to pull this one off.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. I got home a lot earlier than I expected.
Which is good. Oh, I have probably the biggest news of 2021 to share right now.
Yeah.
The biggest news in the RC industry right now.
Grande.
No, this is actually bigger than Grande. Way bigger. You can now get desert lizards with piggyback reservoirs.
Really?
Or I guess not piggyback, they're remote reservoirs. Their description says that should tell you something right here. These guys are making shocks, and it's racing desert lizard piggyback shocks with reservoir. Piggyback is when the reservoir is attached to the main shock body. These are remote reservoirs.
Which, that's funny they use that wording because I actually have to figure out how I'm going to replicate my shocks on my 94.
What shocks are those?
Bilstein 5150s.
Oh, those are good shocks.
The piggyback shocks.
Piggyback shocks with reservoir. Like you could have a piggyback shock without any kind of reservoir. God, these guys. They're really small diameter too compared to the OG Desert Lizards.
You know, my Desert Lizards are still like in outer space.
Huh?
So for my comp crawler, I ordered a set of black 90 millimeter Desert Lizards.
I can't believe you right now.
From A-Main. I want to try them out, you know, because they look similar, like you can set them up similar to the G-Made transitions, but G-Mades leaked really bad. So I was hoping maybe these
G-Mades leaked terrible.
So, because I want a droop shock. I want to be invert the spring underneath the piston so it sucks down, pulls your rig down. You know, it is for a quote unquote comp rig. Anyways, ordered them from A-Main. I watched the whole tracking thing. Says leaves Chico, goes to Sacramento, goes from Sacramento to San Francisco, goes down to Los Altos, then back to San Francisco, then to Redwood City. Then it says out for delivery. Then it says arrived back at the Redwood City post office. And then the final message I got, and this was back on November 19th, awaiting delivery scan.
What?
I have not seen those.
How long's it been?
So that was that last like update was November 19th.
Jesus.
So
yeah, they're gone.
I keep saying I need to go down to the post office and just complain and be like, what is going on? But
they're not gonna know.
No, well,
they're gonna have no idea.
One time we had an issue with something and I went down there and our mail was sitting there.
Weird.
So I'm just gonna be like, look, I want to know what the hell's going on and who's replacing them if they're lost.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I got $50 in shocks floating somewhere. So why can't you believe me? You don't like the Desert Lizards?
No, it's just like this running joke that Travis and I have.
Oh,
because like everybody wants Desert Lizards full droop. You know, like it's just like you see it so much that it starts to become funny after a while.
Okay.
So that's all.
Okay. Sorry, I disappoint you.
It's all right.
Grande Master.
I've got Grande in my life to make up for your shortcomings.
Shortcomings.
I can't believe you didn't buy the reservoir ones.
So they weren't out yet.
You can get them in 110 millimeters.
I don't need 110. So that's the other thing
Yeah,
people
you
don't
do.
realize.
You need Desert Lizards for 110 millimeters.
No, and here's the thing. I'm just gonna give our listeners a little information because I learned this the hard way back when. So back when I ordered the transitions from G-Made like 5 or 6 years ago, I have the logic that, okay, these are going to be compressed, so you want to go with the next size up. no, that 110 millimeter means, well, at least with the transitions, that meant it collapsed. It was 110 millimeter.
Oh, really?
So I was like, yeah. So
Usually
when I put them
it's
on,
extended eye to eye.
I was like, what the hell? So yeah.
So did you just have mega flex?
No, I forgot what I did with those. Oh no, those shocks I put them in in like my parts box because I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. I ended up using them on Michelle's dad's. The Red Baron build has those shocks on them because it was perfect. It was a 2.2 rig, so it needed to sit a little taller. So,
well, there you go.
So then I ordered a set of 90 millimeters, and it was perfect. But like I said, I don't know if that's how these are. You know, I'm not a fluent desert lizard
connoisseur. Yes, you are.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Don't be shy.
No, those were the first sets I've ever ordered.
You can dazzle us with how much you know about them.
That was the first set I've ever ordered, and they still haven't even made it to my house.
I want to know what millionaire buys an Intigi camping tent for $275, like the little tent trailer with a pop-up tent. That is a lot of money. I thought it was the RC four-wheel drive one at first because of how expensive it was. Yeah, they have like a little camping tent with a roof, or a camping trailer with a rooftop tent on it, and it's $275. Yeah, racing has a tent. You know, that is actually pretty cool, though, that you can at least even buy stuff like this. Five years ago, you would have to, like, make a collapsible tent yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that's also, like, it's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize, like, if you actually look at the Knight Customs, the clamshell rooftop tent.
Yeah, I'm building one of those, actually.
He includes the little paper on what you need to make the fabric part, like the template for it.
The pattern for it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's shockingly bigger than you think it is, the clamshell part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is big. I had to print it in 4 pieces. That's how big it was.
Damn.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But like, I'm gonna have to glue the halves together and then probably do a lot of like sanding and Bondo work and stuff to get it to be nice and smooth. Unless I can use like some thick CA or something, and maybe it'll fill the gap halfway decent. But no, I printed. It was like almost probably every bit of a week to print the canopy part, the canopy door, and then the 4 pieces for the tent. Like, it was pretty lengthy. That was a lot of stuff. And it's going to be a lot of finish work, though, just because there's so many big flat surfaces on that you have to make look nice, since it's going to need to be painted.
Nice. That'll turn out really good.
Yeah, hopefully. I ruined a body the other day. That was pretty cool. A Night Runner one. The paint,
How'd you do that?
Paint crinkled on me.
Really?
Yeah. I was not happy. I think I can sand it, though, with a DA and get rid of most of it, knock it down, and then spray it in a couple days. That 2X is weird paint to work with, dude. Like, if you have to like get all of it down in one sitting. It's not like you can like paint it and come back, like the next morning and put another coat on or something. Like that paint just doesn't work that way. Like if I don't know, if it's had time to cure and then you paint over it, you've got like this 50-50 chance of it actually, like the solvent softening it up and like making it blow up and crinkle again. It's weird. Like I don't know. I've gotten mixed results every time that I've tried painting with that stuff. Like the Forerunner, the Halo one, the green one, no issues whatsoever. Just went down beautifully. And like, I think I took about 2 days, I think, just multiple coats and everything and got it, nice. This other one just fought it the entire time. I don't understand. And the only parts that crinkled is the hood and the roof. Everything else is fine.
Weird.
All
I
the
can never understand
sides, the bed, all of it.
Yeah, I can never understand why sometimes like the paint, no matter what you do to the rig, crinkles.
Yeah, dude, it's so gnarly. I don't understand because like I've used that paint on all kinds of stuff too, like my drag bodies and stuff I painted with it, and I didn't have any kind of flaking issues or anything like that. I had used like their matte clear on the outside and had really good luck with it. And dude, I don't know. I cannot figure out like for the life of me how to like get any kind of consistent results with that stuff. Cause I mean, like it makes no sense. Like the Halo one's fine. And then it's just been a nightmare painting this gray one, the Night Runner body. And it doesn't make any sense to me.
Interesting.
I mean, I painted them like a day apart. I mean, it's, I don't know. It is super frustrating though, because it gets really expensive. Because I'm not going to strip all that off.
Yeah, stripping sucks.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll harden up to where I can sand it here pretty quick. So I don't know. We'll see. Pain in the butt.
So yeah, was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Not really.
I've complained enough.
I can show Adam what we're working on after we finish recording here.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Cool. All right.
Well,
sounds good.
See you guys. Thank you.
See you next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
That's the plan.